Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. Firstly, let's take a look at the company's profile. Segi Seri Sdn Bhd is a company that delivers the best food and beverages services to cater domestic and global market demands with the support of their own fully integrated central kitchen. They also owns a unique venues, one of which known as Laman Kayangan located in Section 7 Shah Alam, a fully furnished exclusive Mark 10 for corporate functions, social gatherings and weddings. In addition, Segi Seri has established their name and reputation in both government and private healthcare institutions such as Hostel Pusrawi, Hostel Sungai Buloh, National Cancer Institute and Hospital Pulau Pinang. They have been supplying centralized meal trays, packed meals, and therapeutic diets to cater for different patient needs. Their consistent efforts and good practices has led the Hospital Sungai Buloh being awarded as the Good Manufacturing Practice status. They have also attained the Halal accreditation and 4-star rating from SME Corp under SCORE program. The company has initiated strategic partnership and built on good reputation with major clients such as SACC, local city councils, and various government agencies. Next, let's take a look at Segi Seri Sdn Bhd vision and mission. The vision of the company is that they want to be a leading company in the truly halal food processing and food packaging industry to cater domestic and global market demands. While their mission is that they want to be a Bumiputra model company in providing excellent services and customer satisfaction. Now, let's move on to the services provided by the company. Segi Seri Sdn Bhd provide a wide range of services including food, drinks, equipment, catering, from small to big function including the VIP and royal events. Here are the list of the services that the company provided. Aside from the services provided by the company, Segi Seri also has a factory. The factory is new and maybe will be operated in 2021. The factory has a high technology machineries with capability of producing 10,000 meals per day. Segi Seri factory are also going towards halal, HACCP, GMP, MESTI and ISO certification under MIDA.
Let's move on to the corporate governance. Corporate governance refers to the way in which companies are governed and to what purpose. It identifies who has power and accountability and who makes decisions. Corporate governance ensures that businesses have appropriate decision-making processes and controls in place so that the interests of all stakeholders who are shareholders, employees, suppliers, customers, and the community are balanced. Segi Seri Sdn Bhd currently has 2 directors in the company who are in charge of the management of Segi Seri Sdn Bhd. The most top in the organizational chart is the managing director, who is held by Mr. Azhar bin Baharin, and the second director is Mrs. Nur Farah Ain binti Baharin as the director of the company. Under the Managing Director, they have Mrs. Masida as the Admin Executive cum Secretary who coordinates office activities and operations to secure efficiency and compliance to company policies, also to supervise administrative staff and divide responsibilities to ensure performance. In the middle-level management, Segi Seri Sdn Bhd is divided into two groups, which are the Support Group and Operational Group. Under the Support Group, they have three divisions, which are Group Human Resource, which is managed by Mr. Said Azim, Chief Finance Officer, managed by Mr. Fuad Nasir, and General Manager Admin, managed by Mrs. Amy Hani. In the Operation Group, it is led by Mr. Hazrul Anwar, who is the General Manager Operation. The division under the Operation Group are the Restaurant Manager, who are Mr. Norman Isnin and Mr. Muhammad Roshidi. Executive Chef or CPU Division managed by Mr. Muhammad Rusdi. Head Hospital Division is managed by Mr. Abu Bakar Ahmad. General Manager Hotel Division is managed by Mr. Azmi Jaafar, and lastly, Factory Manager, which will be appointed once the factory building has completed. Each division will be handled by several employees in order to smooth their daily operations. However, Segi Seri Sdn Bhd is centralized management in which any decision-making, policies, rules, and etc. will be made by the top management in the HQ. As for the administration, it is managed by the General Manager Admin. Under the General Manager Admin, there are several other employees to do the managerial support for the company. Any bookings, feedbacks from the customers will be directly to the administration department. However, Human Resource is managed by the group Human Resource, and there are few employees under the Human Resource group. They are responsible for recruiting, screening, interviewing, and placing workers in the company.
Let's move on to the next part. Food safety legislation in Malaysia is developed and updated by the Ministry of Health. The ministry is responsible for health system. Under the Ministry of Health, there is Food Quality Control (FQCD), which their vision is to uphold the nation's integrity by ensuring safe food through shared responsibility and accountability. This is because they believe that food safety is not only the responsibility of the government, but also the industries and consumers. The Food Act 1983 and the Food Regulation 1985 are the Malaysian food legislation that form the backbone of the food safety program. These legislations aims to protect the public against health hazard and fraud in the preparation, sale and use of food, and for matters incidental thereto or connected therewith. Alright, now let's move on to the standards in Malaysia. If the company wants to offer food and beverages product in Malaysia, the company will need to apply the certificate for the business. This is because so that the company can know more about standard and guidelines, having training course, food safety management systems, and many more. So, here are some of the standards that F&B company must have that Segi Seri has obtained the certificate. Firstly is Hazard Analysis and Critical Point, HACCP. It is a framework that focuses on the identification of hazardous situations from manufacturing to food distribution and the avoidance of this hazard in the process. It is a system for food safety that sets out the hygiene standards required for the development of healthy food products. Second one is Halal Jakim. Halal Jakim is that all the imported food and goods marketed in Malaysia must be described as halal unless the imported foods or goods comply with the requirement or certified as halal by the foreign halal certification body recognized by JAKIM. For the foods and goods that has been certified as halal by the foreign halal certification body recognized by JAKIM shall mark on the said food and goods the name of the said certification body. Next, for the third one is Good Manufacturing Practices, GMP. For a product to be effective and safe, GMP is a series of guidelines that must be enforced beginning with necessary raw materials before it reaches the customer. With the implementation of GMP, hygienic standards during production and distribution of food products can be maintained. And lastly is MESTI, Makanan Selamat Tanggungjawab Industri. This framework, it aims to ensure your company to fulfill Food Hygiene Regulation 2009 requirements. It is also essential for the company to adopt MESTI before applying for JAKIM Halal certification. In MESTI certification, a company has to comply with a full spectrum of basic hygiene requirement which focuses on operation control, hygiene and maintenance, traceability and also record keeping. So, what are the benefits of this certification to Segi Seri Sdn Bhd? Firstly, it ensures that the customers will be confident that the item they buy as food are safe and stable. And secondly, they can avoid damages or losses if the company act accordingly to the concept of preventive approach and avoid damages. Thirdly, of course, it will help the company to boost their brand image.
I will present about internal control in the company and give any recommendation to improve Segi Seri Sdn Bhd. Internal control is important in an organization as it provides fair, not absolute, certainty that an organization priorities will be achieved. Each big corporate governance agency has a special role to play. In this study, there are few internal control activities that we have conducted, which are: first, segregation of duties. Second, supervision or monitoring of operation. Third, retention of record. Fourth, authorization of transaction. Fifth, human resources control. And the last one is physical control. The first internal control is segregation of duties. To prevent occupational fraud in the form of asset misappropriation and intentional financial misstatement. Segi Seri Sundaram Berhad develops segregation of duties involving separating three main functions and having them conducted by different employees, which are to have custody of asset, to be able to authorize the use of asset, and record keeping of asset. When the inventory arrives at the warehouse, the person who is in charge of inventory management will always do the physical check of the quantity and the quality of the inventory. As mentioned before, it was a different person who handled the physical check and record inventory. Next, supervision or monitoring operation. It is a systematic activity aimed at increasing the efficiency of health workers through direct contact. Segi Seri Sundaram Berhad only apply for the supervision or monitoring of operation in the operation department, since there are a lot of employees needed working in the operation department. Must be proactive in identifying and addressing problems quickly and effectively. Therefore, the supervision or monitoring of operation apply according to the department in need only. Next, retention of records. By maintaining the integrity of the record for an appropriate and or required period of time of administrative, legal, financial, and historical purposes. Segi Seri Sundaram Berhad has kept a record within 7 years. The accounting record that have been kept include all money received and spent by the company, including grant, details of assets owned by the company, debts the company owes or is owed, all goods bought and sold, and many more. Segi Seri Sundaram Berhad also needs to keep any financial record, information, and calculation that need to prepare and file an annual account and company tax return.
Fourth is authorization of transactions, where specific managers are required to authorize certain types of transactions. As for Segi Seri Sundaram Berhad, the company requires every big transaction needs to be proposed first and get an approval from the appropriate authorities of the company. It is important to require approval for large expenses and payments, and it can prevent unethical employees from making huge fraudulent transactions using the company's funds. Next is human resource control. The control is implemented for all aspects of human resources management, including the verification of employees' qualifications, references, and criminal records of potential employees. Based on the interview, the permanent workers are hired based on their qualifications. Segi Seri also provides various training programs to their employees to enhance their skills and directly improve their performance and achieve the company's goals. And the last one is, in order to ensure assets are deployed for their proper purposes and are not to be exposed to misuse or theft, the company should place controls against the company's assets. Segi Seri restrict the access into their office. They use an automatic door lock system where only authorized person can access the building. As for the visitors, an intercom is provided outside and they need to get an approval from the authorized person inside to access the building.
Now I will proceed with the recommendation of the company to be improved. For segregation of duties, there are three main types of inventory cycle counts that can be used by Segi Sendirian Berhad, which are control group cycle counting, random sample cycle counting, and ABC cycle counting. Foremost, control group cycle counting can focus on counting the same items many times over a short period of time. Repeated counting reveals error in the counting technique, which can then be corrected in order to design an accurate counting procedure. Besides, random sample cycle counting can be used if the warehouse has a large number of similar items. It may randomly select a certain number of items to be counted during each cycle count. This helps to reduce the disruption of any category at once, which means that Segi Sendirian Berhad can count during business hours, while ABC cycle counting use the ABC inventory management technique and the Pareto principle to classify items in A, B, or C value-based categories. With this approach, items A are counted more frequently than items B and C. Next, supervision or monitoring of operation, firstly by appointing team leaders. In this position, they help the supervisor to achieve production objectives, solve operational problems, and maintain quality. Specifically, team leaders take on tasks such as ensuring that work standards are complied with, replacing absent employees, helping employees with production problems, and providing transcription. Secondly, implement daily team meetings. Supervisors are also expected to hold short daily meetings, at least 50 minutes, with their team. During this time, the whole group will discuss production objectives, problems, improvement progress, and new ideas for improvement. Then, for retention of record, Segi Sendirian Berhad can review their document retention schedules. Adherence to accurate retention schedules is crucial to the successful management of records. The schedule is a policy document detailing how long the information must be kept, the rationale for retention, and guidance on how to dispose of records that are past their useful life. Different types of documents have different requirements for retention. Segi Sendirian Berhad need the right guidelines for all files. This increases internal efficiency and helps to protect the company in the event of an audit.
Moving on to the authorization of transaction. Based on the interview, Segi mentioned that any transaction needs approval. However, Segi did not set a maximum limit of an employee to use the company's fund as for day-to-day expenses. For example, in the case of the employee's outstation for working purpose and need accommodation, the company should set a maximum limit for an employee to spend on a hotel per night, so that company doesn't have to spend extra on unnecessary things. Next, human resource control. Part-time workers in the central kitchen have changeable or inconsistent scope of work, so this will affect their performance negatively. It is important for a worker to have a fixed scope of work, as it is the primary stage of the discovery process, as it portrays the basis of the project. As for Segi Sendirian Berhad, it is important for a part-time workers to have a fixed scope of work to motivate and improve them in achieving the organization's goals. And the last one is physical control on their asset. Sekisiri can improve the controls by fencing and locking the warehouse. It is important to conduct inventory controls by locking down the warehouse. It can be accomplished by installing a fence around the inventory and restricting access by allowing authorized personnel only into the warehouse.
Next, we continue with the food quality control.
Moving on to the food quality control, the first one is how did Sekisiri measure their food quality? Food quality is defined as the criteria that are acceptable by the consumers, including external factors such as the portion, shape, brightness, color, texture, and the most important is the taste. So, how was Sekisiri measured their food quality? The food quality concept actually varies on who is defining it. For example, an agency, an institution, or the customers itself. Sekisiri use customers' feedbacks that they have gathered from various platforms such as WhatsApp, Instagram, and Google to measure their quality. The feedback received will help them to identify their food quality. If good feedback is received, the company will work on to be consistent in producing the menu, and if there is any complaint received, Sekisiri will value and use it to improve in future. Other than that, Sekisiri Sdn Bhd is also a hazard analysis critical control points certified. It is a certification that is approved and recognized internationally to identify and manage food safety related risks. It provides the end users, public and regulatory agencies assurance that their food safety program is well managed.
How the company ensure that the staff are following the standards of food quality set by the company. Sekisiri Sdn Bhd as the food industry takes a broad view of the term food control, which includes a wide range of factors such as safety, nutrition, quality, and value. The first one, safety, is setting standard for toxicological and microbiological hazards and establishing procedures and practices to ensure that standards are met. Second, nutrition. By maintaining nutrient levels in food ingredients and formulating food with nutritional profiles that contribute to consumer interest in healthy diet. The third one is quality. Provide sensory characteristics such as taste, aroma, palatability, and appearance. And the last one is value. Provision of characteristics of consumer utility and economic advantage, including attributes such as convenience, packaging, and shelf life. Some of these factors, such as value, fall exclusively within the sphere of industry and consumer, while others, such as safety, are shared interests of government, industry, and consumer.
Now, we move on to the critical success factors to sustain in administration and human resource. Critical success factor is a high-level goal that enables the company to focus on what really matters to the company. An effective critical success factor would give benefits to the company as a whole, linked directly to the business strategy, and as well as be vital to the organization's success. With a clear vision and mission, has led the company towards on how the management of the company should operate. Also, the administration and human resource department are able to identify their critical success factor of the department in order to achieve it. For the administration, the main role of administration is managing and distributing information, managing their customers, suppliers, and the operations of the company. Since the company's mission is to provide excellent services and customer satisfaction, it is important for Segisiri Sdn Bhd to know how to handle their customers. Therefore, the critical success factor for the administrator to treat their customers are first, timeliness. Customers want simple answers to their questions and a timely response to their problem and take immediate action. Secondly, attitude is everything and will result in the customer's satisfaction. The customer will feel satisfied with the attitude presented by the administrator in treating them with respect and professionalism. Lastly, the administrator needs to have the expertise and knowledge of Segisiri Sdn Bhd business nature in order for them to answer questions from the customers to make them understand their whys. It is vital to retain their existing customers since the cost to retain is much cheaper than obtaining a new potential customer. As for the human resource, they are responsible for recruiting, screening, interviewing, and placing workers. Moreover, the key areas supported by HR departments involve workforce planning and staffing, managing direct and indirect compensation schemes, employee relations, performance management, training, and legal compliance. Hence, the critical success factor for the human resource is first, sourcing and consulting. HR must understand the needs of the organization to create an accurate job description, identify the skills, knowledge, and experience level of the required personnel. Secondly, competitive and equitable compensation. The manager must analyze the company's financial status first in order to give compensation to the employees. Giving compensation to employees can motivate them to work to achieve company's goal. Thirdly, HR needs to do the performance evaluation and training to the employees. This is because by evaluating the employees' performance level, the manager is able to identify which part needs to improve and do training for the employees. Lastly, overseeing compliance. This is to avoid lawsuits, fines, penalties, and complaints which could affect Segahseries Sdn Bhd financial health and reputation. Therefore, HR workers must keep abreast of labor laws and track and audit the hiring policies of the company on a continuous basis. Let's discuss on the Administration and Human Resource Department of Segahseries Sdn Bhd. For the Administration Department, it is managed by the General Manager, Mrs. Amy Harney. Under the General Manager Admin, there are several other employees to do the managerial support for the company. The administrative duty is to ensure that the organization day-to-day event takes place in the office runs smoothly, managing employees including safety, spreadsheets, filings, receiving and directing customers or visitors, and etc. Any bookings and feedbacks from the customers will be directly to the Administration Department. In addition, supervisors are also accountable for office tasks and responsibilities, as well as managing the work of junior admin workers. However, Human Resource are managed by the Group Human Resource, who is Mr. Said Azim. Under the Group Human Resource, there are few employees who are responsible for recruiting, screening, interviewing, and placing workers. Moreover, employee relations, payroll, insurance, and training may also be managed by them. Managers of human resources prepare, guide, and organize an organization's administrative functions. Their daily tasks in the HR department are consult with employers to identify needs and preferred qualifications, interview applicants about their experience, education and skills, contact references, and perform background checks. Inform applicants about job details such as benefits and conditions, hire or refer qualified candidates, conduct new employee orientations and process paperwork. Also, the HR manager will plan and coordinate the workforce to best use employees' talents, resolve issues between management and employees, advise managers on policies, coordinate and supervise the work of specialists and staff, oversee recruitment and hiring process, and direct disciplinary procedures.
And now I will continue with the SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is a compilation of a company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Having a SWOT analysis may help Segi Suri Sudirman Berhad to develop a full awareness of all the factors involved in making a business decision. The strengths of the company are: first, the company applies a diversification strategy. It does not depend on one type of business only. Second, have skillful employees as they provide training and always upgrade their employees' skills. Third, have a competent leader in the organization as the leader is one of the trainers. Fourth, hired people with the right qualification only. For example, their chef have qualification in food and technology. Next, for weaknesses, the first one is the packaging used to supply their products to customer increase waste and lead to environmental pollution and recruitment of part-time employees on a daily basis. For the opportunities, first, can gain more skillful workers. Second, as the company is acknowledged by the government, the company may receive new contract from other companies as well. And last one, factory is in construction, so it can reduce operation costs as they have their own factory. For the threat, first, due to COVID-19, so the company need to close their shop. And then dissatisfaction of former employees.
Moving on to the PESTEL analysis. It is a framework or tool used to analyze and monitor the macro-environmental factors that may have a profound impact on an organization's performance. It can help Segi Suri to sustain their business. The first factor is political factors. It is how the government imposes expensive regulatory frameworks for every aspect of the food industry. This includes the cleanliness of commercial kitchens, the standards for storing and transporting produce, and even the requirements for laborers in the food business. For example, food premises need to be checked by the authority and they will grade the premise by grade A, B, and C based on the cleanliness of the premises, especially their kitchen. Next is economic factors. The pandemic of COVID-19 has affected Segi Suri's business management since they have to close some of their restaurants. Management needs to follow the standards of procedures introduced by the governments. The staff and visitors are needed to scan their body temperature and log in before entering their building and need to use face masks and practice social distancing. As for the social factors, Segi Suri Sudirman Berhad product is Muslim friendly as it delivers only halal product to their customers. The company owns the halal certificate from JAKIM and the customer can check the status online at JAKIM website. Therefore, the customers has no doubt in consuming the food prepared by Segi Suri Sudirman Berhad. Technology factors will make the work easier and enhance the quality of the work. Segi Suri Sudirman Berhad have prepared a complete amount of computers for the use of the administration, so they don't have to manage the documents manually and keep it on the shelf only. Hence, any important files that need to be kept properly will be saved and backup in the computers. Moreover, the company also use a thumbprint for the attendance of their employees and also installed some CCTV for the company's safety. Moving on to the environmental factor, the highest waste produced from Segi Suri's production is food waste. However, Segi Suri Sudirman Berhad has no proper initiative to reduce it. Food waste that ends up in dumping space will produce excess amounts of greenhouse gases such as methane, carbon dioxide, and chlorofluorocarbons. It will absorb ultraviolet radiation and heat up the company's atmosphere, causing global warming and climate change. So, a proper food waste system should be developed by Segi Sdn Bhd in order to sustain the environment. And the last one is legal factors. It can affecting Segi Seri Sdn Bhd since they produce halal food, which is important for the company. Since Segi Seri main activities is producing food, they need to follow the regulation of food quality and integrity in Malaysia. It is governed primarily by the Food Act 1983 and its subsidiary legislation, the most pertinent of which is the Food Regulations 1985. Compliance with the Act and the regulations is mandatory.
Now, let's have a look on the issues that we found out in the administration. First, the issues on recruitment of part-time employees. As we all know, Segi Seri Sdn Bhd is involved in offering services such as catering services, event coordinator, event venue, buffet, hospitality, and more. So, the company have both permanent employees and also part-time employees to cater their job given. In terms of the recruitment of part-time employees, they are recruited on a daily basis. Why does Segi Seri implement this practice? Is because they want to have a flexibility of work since the scope of job itself tough for a long run. If they are recruited on a daily basis, it may result in irregular work schedules since the employees are different on every single occasion. When this happens, it is difficult for the management to monitor their part-time employees and pay their wages. Next, the analysis of issue, which is issue on recruitment of part-time employees. The food and beverage industry includes restaurant, fast food joint, food manufacturing operation, catering businesses, food transportation services, and more. Nature in this industry is work done needs to be fast-paced, stressful, and repetitive. Due to that, many food and beverage serving and related workers are employed part-time. It may result in employees turnover is high since the employees come in and out in the industry. When this happens, the company needs to continually search for a recruiter every day. Although most of part-time employees are from effectiveness of word of mouth, but still sometimes they need to wait. This can lead to difficulty in meeting customer expectation. If this keeps happening in the long run, the management of the company may face some problems and may affect the company as a whole. Employee turnover is a natural part of business in any industry. Excessive turnover decreases the overall efficiency of the company and comes with a high price tag. Understanding the effects of losing a high number of employees serves as a motivator to work towards reducing the turnover rate for higher profits and a more appealing work environment. When there is a high turnover rate of employees, it may affecting the company on several aspects. First, in terms of cost. Each employee who resigns costs your company money. All of the money invested into that employee through training, education, and pays for advertised vacancy. Next, high turnover rate costs the company time in addition to money. Managers or human resources staff spend time conducting exit interviews, advertising the job, recruiting candidates, and interviewing. Supervisor and colleague are often left to cover until a new employee is hired and begins working. Lastly, the overall productivity of the workplace tends to decrease with high turnover. Since a new employee has a period of adjustment, he won't complete tasks as quickly as the person he replaced. Let's proceed with the recommendations on the first issue, which is the terms of recruitment of part-time employees on a daily basis. We suggest for the Segi Seri to may have an option to hire their part-time employees on the fixed term or a contract basis. Why we suggest this method is because a fixed term contract usually used by an organization when they have a specific end date for the work required. This may be a seasonal work or where funding has been provided for a specific project. This applies to what the Segi Seri is venturing right now. It also can be a great way for them to increase labor when it is required. Through the article at the left side is said on some of the benefit of employing a contract workers. One of it is reduced long-term labor costs. They are a temporary solution and do not require an annual salary. Neither will be the company need to accrue money to spend on paid learning and development for them in most instances, as they will only benefit company's business for a limited period. Then it shortens the hiring process. Usually the process of hiring contract employees is traditionally a lot quicker. Last one is flexibility. It allows the company to respond to market needs and demands as they happen. They are often used to working in different locations for different personality for varied period of time. As we can see, there are some benefits from employing the part-time employees on a contract basis. For employer, Segi Seri would benefit from the employee with specialist and expert knowledge for a particular project or a period of time. Through a contract basis, it may show that the company have an effective forecasting of resources and budget. On top of that, Segi Seri may obtain higher commitment level from their employees. For the employee, a contract basis may benefit that they can be paid more than the permanent staff, either because of their special skill or to compensate for the temporary nature of the job. They are also entitled to the same pay and working condition, an equivalent or a similar benefits package. Thus, any problems such as part-time employees are not coming to work or irregular work schedule can be reduced due to this contract basis. The second issue is regarding former employees' dissatisfaction. This is based on our observation. There are some reviews regarding the issue on social media platforms such as Facebook, JobStreet, and Indeed. The reviews are regarding Segi Seri's poor management as the lack of employees' benefit given to the employees, such as lack of medical benefit. If the review is read by anyone seeking for a job, it may cause them to have a doubt on applying a job at Segi Seri Sdn Bhd. If no action taken, it may affect the company in having difficulties in the process of hiring new employees. People would have trust issues on the management of the company since there is a bad review appearing online. It could lead the company to look less attractive as before. Analysis of the issue. Reason issue arise is due to poor management of the company in terms of employees' well-being. It is very important for the management of the company to take care of the employees' well-being. Employees' well-being also has important implications for productivity and work relationship. When employees are happy, it is positively associated with customer satisfaction. Apart from that, taking care of employees' well-being can improve employee culture. Employees are an expensive resource to the business and its most important asset. A strong employee well-being program demonstrates that the business values the employees. It can build and sustain high morale and engagement and create shared experience for employees. However, there are some challenges may be faced by the human resource team while delivering health and well-being programs to their employees, including rising healthcare costs, lack of effective communication, lack of appropriate technology solutions, and insufficient employee engagement. According to a study, most employers will increase their health and well-being every year. Consequently, this high healthcare cost has become a major factor influencing employees' healthcare decisions. For instance, most employees enrolled in the healthcare plans are more likely to delay or skip care for fear of incurring huge costs. Furthermore, in the food industry, employees are exposed to common accidents or injuries such as burn, strain and other muscle injuries, eye problems, and auto accident. Restaurant workers face the constant risk of burn as there are many hot things that can cause burn, including fryers, stove, ovens, and boiling water. Employees may experience strain and other muscle injuries since they have to carry heavy items like large tray, which can strain muscle. Moreover, employees also can experience eye problem. In food establishment, there are many eye hazards such as grease and even cleaning product. There is also possibility of auto accident because many food establishments deliver food. Employees are at the risk of becoming injured in an automobile accident. If the company does not provide inadequate medical benefit or insurance, workplace injuries and illness can not only cause physical pain and suffering but also loss of employment. For the recommendations of the second issue, management need to take into considerations of the feedback not only from the existing employees but also from their former employees. It can help the company to observe how well their management towards the company as well for the employees. Next, feedback helps in improving the company's management efficiency and effectiveness and also to keep in track so that they can form a better relationship. Segi Seri Sdn Bhd need to respond to the respective feedback which the former employees highlighted on the lack of employees' benefit given to them. This is to ensure that the company are improved in the future and able to retain their employees. However, there are some methods that can be used by the company to respond towards the feedback given. First, don't rush to react. When the company receives the negative feedback, don't rush into responding it right away. Take some time to process the feedback. Next, focuses on the pressing issue. The company should tackle the problems that repeatedly raised by the employees, which in this case is regarding the management of the company. And then, clarify about the pressing issues. After narrow down the focus on the key issue, the company needs to collect more information from the source of negative feedback. And after that, show your employees that what they see matters to you. Show to employees that their feedback matters. Company come up with a solution that they think would work best, schedule a follow-up meeting, and discuss if those solutions would work. Brainstorm with their employees and discuss potential solution to the raised concern. As conclusion, management of the company need to take a proper action regarding the issues arise. This is to avoid the same issue would arise again in the future. Next, ensure that all employees' participations in the organization as their participations are beneficial in any decision-making process of the organization. And lastly, company need to ensure that there are continuous improvement in every aspect. Continuous improvement is needed to show that there is an increase in terms of customers and employee satisfaction. That's all from us. Thank you.